Do-do, 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 do-do. It's mine! Hello there, my name is Samantha, and today I am going to be reviewing The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. So this is a historical fiction novel based during World War II. The main story takes place in a very poor part of Germany, and the narrator for the book is Death. The story begins with our main character, Liesel, being brought to her new foster parents, Hans and Rosa. While on her way to her new foster parents' home, her brother passes away, and by his graveside, once he's buried, she finds a book called The Grave Digger's Handbook. And this is her first book thievery. I was sitting writing down all the notes and all my thoughts for this book when I was thinking to myself, this introduction, not the introduction, but this description of the book was really short, because I'm so used to having a fantasy novel where you have to set the world, and then you got to explain everything and what all of these magicians all are and everything like that. But everyone knows about World War II. Everyone knows everything that happens. So I don't have to tell you that it was set in Germany. Well, it wasn't set in Germany, but it began because of Hitler, and I don't have to tell you all the background on it. So it took me a minute to realize why my description was so short. When I first picked up this book, I legitimately thought this entire book was going to be about just this girl stealing books. Like, that is literally what I thought this book was going to be about. It's not. No worries. Apparently, I really hope I wasn't the only one who thought this, but that's why it took me so long to pick this book up. So, like I said, this book is told from Death's perspective. He is the narrator of the whole story. Because it is told from Death's perspective, it is really spooky, because he just gives these random factoids, not really factoids, but he just like says these random things that just like kind of add to the spooky feel to the book and everything. In this book there is basically no mystery at all, because as Death says, he has no use for mystery. He doesn't like mystery because he feels no need for it. So you basically know what happens at the end of the book in the middle of the book. He tells you the ending of all of the characters' stories in the middle of it. So you're not surprised by the ending at all. This is a very sad book. There's a lot of deaths in it. Obviously, a book about the Holocaust and World War II is going to have a lot of deaths in it. It's going to be very sad. But I was just very sad throughout the whole book. I'm not a huge fan of sad books. Although there was one thing I enjoyed about all of the deaths in the book, it was, don't think I'm like mean or crazy or anything like that. Let me explain. Like I said, there is death throughout the book, and then Death is the narrator. So as a narrator, he is also throughout the book. So as Death the narrator is throughout the book, but there is also deaths throughout the book too. It's kind of like a mine F word I don't want to say, because I don't know how old everyone is here and I don't want to get in trouble for saying cuss words, even though I say one at the end. But yeah, mind F word, that's what that is. When I was younger, a friend actually recommended this book to me when I was like in like ninth-ish grade or something like that, and I said no, because to be honest, I don't really enjoy this cover. I don't really think it's that pretty. And then the title kind of threw me off. When I read the back of it, it just kind of sounded stupid. And I'm very glad I did not read it when I was in 9th grade. I would have thrown it down on the first like 20 pages, because I was very narrow-minded, but I had like tunnel vision. There's only certain types of books I wanted to read, and I only read those. But since I waited to read this, I appreciate it more and I enjoyed it more. Although I enjoyed this book, I can't say I'm a huge fan of it, because I've discovered because of this book, I'm not a huge historical fiction fan. And let me explain why. When I read a fantasy novel, if something bad happens, like if there's a war and a billion people die, I can placate myself by saying, oh, it's not real, it's okay, blah 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 blah. But if it's based off of World War II, while I'm reading it, although this actual story may be fiction, somebody's actual story may be very similar to this. Somebody might have lived through this. And it just it depresses me so much. And it's just, oh, I just can't say I'm a huge fan of historical fiction now. I loved the writing style in this book, though. The way Death told everything, I loved it. And the writer is obviously very, very talented. But again, I don't know if I will ever read it again just because of how depressed I was while I was reading it. I had to make myself pick it up because I was so sad reading it. Like I said, not because it's a bad book. It's a wonderful book. But it's just, I was so depressed. So depressed reading this book. Another thing I loved about this book was how Death was portrayed. He thinks of killing humans, not killing humans, but taking their souls as a job. So it's not that big of a deal to him, although he still feels something for the characters. I don't really know how to explain it unless you read it, but once you read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I love how Death is portrayed rather than just the creepy, scary thing with the scythe that is coming after you and has no mercy whatsoever. Obviously, this Death doesn't really have mercy because he isn't going to spare a soul because of how good of a person it is, but it's just, yeah, read the book, you know what I'm talking about. I really don't have anything bad to say about this book. It was a really good book, and I'm really glad I read it, but it's just not really my bag, baby. Yeah. So I'll probably give this book about a 4 out of 5 because it was really, really good, but I probably won't read it again. So that's why it missed out on that 1 star. But if it, I don't know, just that 1 star because I was so depressed. I don't want to read it again, but it was so good. But that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed watching because I sure as hell loved talking. I will see you next time. Where did I put the book? Where did it go? Oh my gosh. Right in front of my face.